Good afternoon, traders. It's Simon at Kairos Capital Markets with the weekly review of Aussie Dollar, Pound Yen, and Euro Dollar. So last week we made 4 predictions. We one about the Aussie Dollar, one about the Euro, one about the Pound Yen, and one about gold in itself. So we was right in every single one. We suggested that gold would actually move back up in this last week, which it has done. We said the dollar would actually have a nice sell-off. We presented some nice trades for you. The one I highlighted, actually, the euro dollar was a perfect trade, done exactly what we expected. But now we're going to see what happens this week. So at the moment, we're looking at the DXY on the monthly chart. And the reason why that is, I want you to understand why going long the dollar right now, as I said last week, was going to be a mistake, and that you're now going to get trapped in a dollar long position if you are in it already. So as you can see here on the monthly perspective here, we had these two deceleration candles. Then this month now we rallied up higher, but then we decided to come back down again. So the month ends next week, Thursday, Friday time. So I'm expecting now this week will be the week we determine what really happens with the US dollar for the following month or two. So on the DXY, we've got this high test forming, and on the weekly, daily perspective here, so this is what we expected to happen. This arrow's drawn from last week, kept it in there. It's done what we want it to do. It's still within this range though. So to me to say sell the dollar now is wrong, because it's made the move already like we expected last week. At the same time, for me to say buy the dollar now goes against the higher time frames, and this is what I mean by the higher time frames here. You look at the weekly perspective. You got a nice 3-candle reversal, bullish engulfing, high test, bearish engulfing candle, but it's still within this range. So once we do break down of the range to the downside, we will actually head towards my target area, which I've highlighted for the last couple of months. And the target area itself sits in between the 0.618 and the 382 pullback. So anything in this area here, just to give you an idea here, any area in that little blue square there is a nice pullback. Got some nice decent key levels there, so that's what I'm still expecting to happen at some point. But the question is, when will that happen, or how will we see it? And firstly, on the daily chart, is the breakdown of the daily 50 EMA and its upward sloping trend line. To make it a bit better, a bit cleaner, this is the 4-hour chart. As you can see already, this is what I'd say is a triangle. You've got a multiple touch upward sloping trend line here. The 4-hour 50 EMA is now bearish just at the moment. We had a fake out to the up, which I did suggest 2 weeks ago was the case. It formed a head and shoulder pattern, broke down, pulled back up, put there, and it just started breaking down again. So for me to confirm the bullish or the bearish side dollar, you need to break down below this trend line and pop up back up to test the trend line. And this 4-hour 50 EMA will obviously come down as well, and that means we'll actually, once we break this trend line, we will have broken the daily trend line and 50 EMA, and then the weekly and monthly perspective will start coming into the market, and we'll drag this price back down to the target area of around 92 on the DXY. So with that said, what do we look at other pairs? How do we trade this? Well, the Aussie dollar is a bit of a mess, to be quite honest. The day perspective, again, this downward sloping trend line is it will cap your risk to reward. The daily 50 EMA is in your way, and if you do break above the trend line, you got the 75 level key level, which is 1 to multiple touches along there. You got a bad scenario there. So for me to trade Aussie dollar more medium to long term is something like that. Pull back down to this area here and enter a long position from here to go back up to 77. That's what I'll be waiting for, something like that. But this is going to be in the next few weeks. This isn't now. I don't think this is the best pair to trade right now. It's very messy. I just feel it's better to short it at a later stage. In let's say September, October time will be the better time to trade this pair. Now, euro dollar. Now, last week, I want to show what we did with euro dollar last week, what we predicted. We predicted a pullback on the 1-hour 50 EMA, and here is my trade here. These trend lines have stayed in place from last week, and you can see perfectly that this low test had tested the 1-hour 50 EMA. It tested both the key level trend lines there, and it just put in a nice clean signal. This was my trade. I got out before 1.149. That's what I got out. Nice 1.8% trade to start the week off. This was done over Monday, and obviously we can see it did break above higher than that, no problem at all. But my strategies I used for this said just get in and get out, because it wasn't the greatest in the world. But I said 1.8%. It's nice to start the week off. Going forward though, this is where the problem you have. Again, a break above and retest of the daily 50 EMA is key to this trade. So anything like this, then to come back down to do that and test the 1.16, 1.157 area, a nice test there, and then we should rally back up to round like that. That's what I'm expecting to happen at some point. Whether this actual price action does do this, who knows. My problem with this trade though is I want to show you why it's so difficult to trade. So daily kind of looks bullish at the moment. It does. Weekly so looks bullish here. You can definitely see we've got a 3 candle reversal. We've got the weekly 50 EMA just above us, but we can see the weekly 50 EMA doesn't do too much. So I'm not too bad about weekly 50 EMA. Obviously 1.2 has always been my next key level. I still think 1.2 is going to be there at some point. That does put the head and shoulder pattern in, sorry. So that looks bullish. Now, if we move down from here now, we've respected the 50 EMA, the daily 50 EMA. That means this is looking bearish. So that means doing that still look at the moment. This would be classed as a lower high, which is with the downwards trend. So that kind of confirms the downwards trend, even though the weekly is bullish. Now then, if we go down to the lower time frames of, say, the 4-hour chart, for example, a pullback, because you can say it's an inverse shoulder pattern, but a pullback to the 4-hour 50 would look kind of bullish. That's not a problem. But the only problem I have with that is when you come down to the 1-hour chart, this would change trend and look bearish. So for me personally, to trade euro dollar right now, I think it's a bad trade. I think you've got too many charts going against and with you. It's too messy, and this isn't my style of trade. I don't like mess. If you look back at last week's video, you'll see what I mean by why it's so clean to take this trade here versus taking a trade up here now. And I do suggest you look at last week's video to understand what was said and done. So pound yen. Pound yen has done exactly again what we expected it to do. I did go long from Friday. Friday I was actually already long in this pair. It looked a nice pair, quite liked it, and that's it done. Moved up quite nicely. I'm still in this pair at the moment. I'm quite happy with it. I do feel that we have a small pullback to the downside on the lower time frame, but it doesn't actually affect anything else around it. This pair does look nice. So this is what it was from last couple of weeks. So here again, exactly the same setup as all the other dollar pairs we've shown today. 3 candle reversal, test the 1.4 area. So a move back up now to 144 is really quite ideal. It makes logical sense. The daily shows the same, the weekly shows the same. When we come down to the intraday charts of the 4-hour and 1-hour chart, let's just show you the 4-hour charts quickly. All we've done is we've rallied. We had a little like triangle here type thing, head and shoulder we'll call it. Moved up nicely. It looks like we're going to move back down. Testing the 4-hour 50 EMA, or maybe even testing the 142.5 level. Let's have a look, see what we got there. And you can see it has acted there before as support and resistance in the past. So I do feel we will have a pullback. When we come down to the 1-hour chart to see that, I think personally what's going to happen is we just need, this just looks like it's consolidating at the moment. There's an upward sloping trend line there. We do have bearish MACD divergence here at the moment. So a move down on pound yen to start the week does make sense. And at the same time though, just put a lower high somewhere. It would be very, very nice and ideal. I mean, if you did come down the 1-hour chart to put a test around here somewhere, around the 141.5 area, come down, put a couple of tests in, make it look very nice, take a trade there, something like this, and then you head back up to the 144 area, because obviously the 4-hour chart will still be putting a higher low in. So that's what I'm looking for pound yen this week. But in all fairness, these pairs are not the best pairs to trade this week. You're going to get a lot of whipsawing involved this week. You will, just purely because of way everything is. And just take it careful this week, guys. I just have a sense that it will be a volatile week. Okay, guys, I'm sorry a little bit longer than usual, but if any questions, just give us a shout. Oh, and one more thing. I know I did want to tell you gold. I'm going to throw gold into this, but I did mention gold last week, and gold rated quite nicely like I expected. So the safe haven status is that actually happened. The dollar sells off and the gold powers back up again. That's nothing too unusual there, but the fact that the safe haven of gold didn't power up when the dollar and the Swiss and the yen did, I was correct in thinking, my way of thinking as well there. Okay guys, take care and I'll speak to you soon.